It's not like you're not voting in Australia and you have to box a kangaroo.
I mean, I'd be down. I'd be down to box a kangaroo.
You would lose.
Oh, I know. But what a way to go out. I didn't say it was to win, Scott. It's just better than being in a jail cell.
It depends on who your cellmate is, though. What if it was Russell Crowe? He's Australian, right?
Is he a kangaroo?
No, like what if he was your cellmate?
Then I'm all in.
What if you had to fight Russell Crowe instead of a kangaroo?
I think the only thing that would defeat me during that fight, because he's old, no, I think it would be the terrifying voice if he tried to serenade me like a siren song. You know,
Javert.
In Stranger Things season 4, when the people go up in the air and then they start breaking, like their whole body just starts to fall apart. Ooh. All Russell Crowe has to do is start singing, and that's what we do. It's the opposite of Kate Bush. He is the antithesis.
I feel like there's a really good opportunity for somebody on TikTok to put those horrifying deaths with
to a Russell.
No.
To a Russell Crowe song.
And so it must be, for so it is written on the doorway to paradise, that those who falter and those who fall must pay the price.
Whether it's
Jersey Shore,
curled feetsies,
Technoblade,
or better every loop, there's a sub for that. Welcome to the front podcast of the internet.
I am your host, Willy.
And I'm your host, Scott.
We're a show all about Reddit,
covering all the ups and downvotes in about 30 minutes.
If you like the show, you can find more of us
on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram.
Or still just trying to get your fat ass onto the pontoon boat. Some of us are still stuck in the lake.
All right, Willy, we're back. It's just you and me. Just a couple of friends on a podcast. No guests this week, but I have it on good authority that there are people requesting to be on the show now.
Some people just want this to be a throuple, apparently, and you know what? I'm here for it.
Don't be surprised if we've got a wait list for the next one, which, if we do our math correctly, should be about 4 episodes after this one. We're trying to do it every 5. And, hey, do you want to be on the show? Do you think you are the best lurker around? You want to go live here with the kings of Reddit? I'm writing that one
That's
down.
what we are now?
That's going on a t-shirt. And
Daddy Scott over here is the king.
Willy, if we want to have a friend of the show join us from wherever, because I mean we've got listeners in Spain, Sweden, all across Europe, the UK. Paul, looking at you. How can they reach us?
If it's somebody that knows either of us, then just, I don't know, text me, man.
That should be a given. But what about people that don't know us?
But if you want to be on the show and you're not a friend of ours, you should email us at theirs@subforthat.com.
You could be on the show. You could tell us about your favorite subreddit. You could tell us about your favorite NSFW subreddit.
Fetish thing. God, this is going to get weird. I'm into it.
Yeah, don't kink shame, Willy. No kink shaming.
Did I tell you this last week? So we went to, I'm going to offend some people, and I apologize. It's just my lack of understanding, and I'm open to change.
You're ignorant. Stop being so ignorant.
I am as white as my shirt here, okay? I am the color of mayonnaise, off-brand, homemade, by your mom, 1980s mayonnaise. But we went to the beer dabbler in like Loring Park. Minnesota's famous for the little like spoon in the cherry. It's where that park is.
Yes, you told a privilege-like story last week. Yeah.
And I got to say, there's a lot of like mesh wearing shirts and tank tops and chaps, which by the way, don't call them assless chaps. All chaps are assless. So many people wearing chaps, good on them. I'm
very breathable clothing.
But there was one thing that I don't know if I was expecting that. So I look over to my partner and I was like, Bree, all of this, from all that you can see, she's short, I'm fine. But behind you, there is something not really okay. What? I mean, it's not that I'm not okay. I should just
All right,
tell you.
all right.
Scott,
Okay, just
Scott,
preface it. You're not used to it. It's something that caught you off guard. It was r/unexpected.
are you into furries?
No, not at all.
What if, close your eyes for a second. You're imagining a furry.
All right.
I know. I'm so sorry.
It's a fox. It's always a fox.
And how is it dressed? What are you thinking about when you think of a furry?
I don't think it has clothes. I think it just is in fur. Isn't that the
Okay,
the
so
clothes of
you
a
could
fox?
imagine like a mascot for a football game, like Goldie the Gopher is there, and you're
Yeah.
like, cool, except the tail is a butt plug. That's a whole different thing. Except in this instance, Scott, there's no fur. There's only latex. And the latex looks like animal skin. And they're wearing those BDSM masks with muzzles on and leashes, and they're just walking around holding each other.
Wait, it was two people? I'm still imagining. I'm trying to imagine this here. There's two
It's
people.
like My Little Pony and The Matrix merged together into like one sex demon animal wearing leather dungeon party. And it was just a little too much for me, man.
It's
You can open your eyes, please.
Oh God, please help. If I'm not mistaken, there's a club downtown that caters to that sort of thing. And no matter what you're into, right? We say it kind of at the beginning and at the end. There's a sub for that. Literally, it sounds like in this instance, the sub was out in the open.
And I am not going to yuck your yum any more than I already have.
But it was an event dedicated to the LGBTQ plus community, right? So it was kind of just
Right.
shining a spotlight on things you would normally be in the dark. It's an awareness thing, if anything. Now, don't get your knickers in a twist and say, like, what if so-and-so was around and blah, 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 blah. Public place. They're not breaking any laws. We've said it here before. It's allowed. You know the rules. You play the stupid games.
Free the nips, man.
Yeah, that's right. So, to recap everything here.
Yes.
You saw this. It was unexpected. But you then went out and got your own, and you're going to show it off on the next episode?
I have not needed a sponsor for Bluetooth Chewables since last Friday. I was reminded at the end of last week that there are some pretty dumb people out there. We've seen a lot of them as we peruse Reddit, as you just endlessly scroll. You see the dumb. But there was a TikTok where this person said, my boss is so ignorant to where things exist. Here is their map of the United States. And they show a drawing. I'm going to give you a freebie here because I'm going to challenge you to something.
Oh,
they
no.
put Chicago as its own state where Washington State is.
They put it in the West Coast?
Yeah.
Clearly, this was a child left behind.
If that was my boss, I don't know if I could work there anymore.
I'd feel real bad for you.
Scott, what am I holding?
A picture of you.
It's a white piece of paper. I mean, you're not wrong. It's just a mirror. You son of a bitch. And I know that you have one in front of you, so
I
hit
also
that
have a
fast
picture
forward
of Willy
button.
in front of me. Yes.
on top of that photograph of me, can you take the next, I'll give you 10 minutes, and I want you to draw from memory, please don't look this up, the United States, and put
no.
the states on the map, Scott. Do it.
Can you just like ask me to do the state capitals or something? Because, all right,
And your
fine.
time
We're gonna
starts now.
All right, I'm done.
Are you?
Yeah.
The first time I did this, I probably took like 12 minutes to do it. There is a time lapse that exists, and this is roughly what I got.
As somebody who's been studying this way more than I have,
Just let me see it for a second. I want to see this.
show you or show them?
Show me first.
Show you first.
Show me first.
Okay.
I'm your friend, man. Oh, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Can I show them now?
Yeah, you can show them now.
All right. This is what I drew. I'm not a cartographer.
I'm gonna ask you a top 5, starting with an easy one. Let me give you a gimme here, Scott.
All right.
What is to the north of Washington State?
Canada.
Yep, correct.
Yeah.
The easy one. What is Washington is north of?
Oregon.
Perfect. We're gonna get a little bit harder, and we're gonna go further east as we go.
Yeah, we are.
What is to the west of Montana?
The Idaho. The little thingy.
I know you are. All right, so we're getting into the center. You're number 3. What is south of Wisconsin? It's an easy one. Come on.
South of Wisconsin is Illinois.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is a good one. Let's get a little bit more challenging here. There are 2 states south of Maine that create a V and an A. What is the V?
Is it Vermont?
And what is the other one?
Is it Connecticut?
Connecticut is smaller, and it for
Flat? Connecticut is flat, right? Yeah, it's like...
it's a rectangle, essentially.
Okay, so Delaware. Is it Delaware?
No.
Delaware the hell is... What is it?
It's a 2-letter word.
Rhode Island?
Rhode Island's the small one, Scott. Rhode Island's the tiny one. The other one is New Hampshire.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Hamps.
That
Or
was
whatever you
supposed
call
to-
yourself. That was supposed to be the easy one. It's like this big.
I'm giving you a hard one here. All right. You know where Texas is.
Mm-hmm.
From Texas to the East Coast, skipping Florida, just stay along that edge. What are those states? There are 4 of them.
Texas to Florida, we've got Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Florida.
Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia. Skip Florida. What are the states above it? You missed 1.
Above it? Above Texas or the East Coast?
Nope.
We're going towards
along
the east.
along that bottom edge. So you
Alright, so
have
we got
Texas,
Texas,
and then-
Louisiana, Alabama, Arkansas.
Nope. Arkansas is
Nope.
above Louisiana.
Arkansas, yeah. Arkansas's up.
Scott, this is important for us. For us in Minnesota, we share something very significant with this state. And FYI, I 100% miss this state too.
Okay, so right next to Florida, you're telling me to the west of Florida, there's a state I don't know.
There's Alabama and Louisiana, but there's a state in between those two.
Georgia is above Florida,
Yep.
north. That's the Florida-Georgia line.
Oh, God.
It's not Arkansas. It's
Scott, hold on. Pause. Just
hold on.
take
Let
a
me
breath.
look at my map. It's right here. All right, give me a hint. I don't know what I'm doing. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
We talk about in Minnesota that sometimes we have the best art west of.
Oh, really? It's Mississippi. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, if you listen to us in Mississippi, thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, well, that is kind of embarrassing. I mean, if I really needed to know any of that and I didn't have access to my phone, I would probably be more embarrassed. But it's just goes to show you that you can always revisit what you used to know, and maybe, just maybe, you don't know as much as you thought you did. Just like this week in politics, Minnesota just legalized edibles after a Republican didn't read the bill. They thought they knew what they were getting into, but whoopsies happened. Technically right now, Willy and I can go to any store. Any store. We can go to the Twins ballpark, Willy, and get 5% hemp-derived, natural, organic, THC edibles or drinks. And the reason this came around, do you know why exactly? Like all the little ins and outs?
No, vague. I have a contact high to this story.
Yeah, so up until last week, there was something called Delta 8. And you know, if you know, you know. But for those who don't, Delta 8 is a synthetic chemical mixture. And so naturally, the state lawmakers were like, hey, we should probably curb this. It doesn't sound like it's good for our constituency. Let's write up this new bill saying that we will not allow synthetic, unnatural THC to be flowing into the state. We're just not going to allow it. Instead, we can only allow hemp.
Was it just
stuff.
one line that said, but we will only allow...
Pretty much, like those bills go back and forth. There's a lot of revisions, and I'm sure they're several pages long, and people don't read them. They just want to sign off. They get porked into another bill, kind of attached to something else that's going to get passed anyway. So it might have been I don't exactly remember what it was attached to, but we had a farm bill go through, so maybe it was attached to that. And the line item essentially said, hey, we're not going to allow this, but we can allow this. We can allow Delta 9 or hemp-derived stuff. So it got passed, it got signed, and here we are, just sitting around, thumbs up our bums, able to get THC, hemp-derived. Somebody I know that uses a little bit more than I do, said like, yeah, but it's hemp, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't know what that means. I don't partake frequently. I don't know about you, but if it gets you a little buzz, I don't think it's any different than, your favorite alcoholic beverage, like the new Topo Chico hard seltzer.
It'll get you drunk. Raving review. One of the top comments on this post said, as a Minnesotan, it's funny that this bill passed, but it's also sad that we can't just have legal weed. To which somebody responded and said, we're one of the most liberal states, but very locally conservative. Moorhead, Duluth, the Twin Cities are all very liberal and highly populated, while rural Minnesota is majority conservative with random pockets of left-leaning people every so often. So we live in this weird little blue bubble where, because we have such highly populated cities, I think we get off looking a little bit more like a California state than we are.
Oh no, we are like a teeter-totter. We can go any which way at any time. And that just means that we've always kind of got to be fighting for what we want. We're kind of left-leaning, but we're very right-centric. So I think we're the most centrist state that's probably in the union.
Just look at like our liquor laws. You go across the border to Wisconsin, and they have drive-through liquor stores. But also, they're the most alcoholic state on the continent, so good on
Planet.
them. Planet, probably. I mean, Russia might have them beat, but they're very like one-track mind. Minnesota is very strict with alcohol laws. In the vast majority of places that I've traveled to, you could just go into a grocery store, go to your local whatever, and
Ma and Pa.
Yeah, there's bottles of wine next to some cases of beer. Maybe hard liquor is sold separately in some states, but in Minnesota, you're not going to walk into a grocery store and pick up a case of Budweiser. You're going to get like a watered down version of that, if anything.
Yeah, and if we do have a Target that has a liquor store, it has to physically be in a separate section of the building. It has to have 4 walls, cordoned off from, even though the checkout lane is 5 feet away, you have to have a separate building within a building in order to sell booze. Also, you can't sell cars on Sunday. The hell?
It's weird. I don't understand. Sometimes, though, Scott, you just end up involved in something and you get so many hours into it that you're like, nope, that was awful. Just like me. I don't really want to live in Minnesota, but I'm stuck here. So if people ask, yeah, our summers are great. The Minnesota State Fair is fantastic. But would I recommend you live here? I don't know. Maybe not. But this week...
It's not that bad.
This week in the subreddit Tumblr, there's a post that says it's good, but it's not. This person says, I think everybody has their "this game sucks and nobody should play it." 8 out of 10, 1,000 hours played. What's yours?
No. I was going to say Spike Ball because, seriously, why? Why does that game exist? That has got to be the... All right. I saw it on ESPN, the Ocho, this weekend. It might have been college, but still. Why? Spike Ball,
I don't know. I've never played
sponsored.
It seems like the people who really liked playing lacrosse really like playing Spike Ball.
I feel like the lacrosse players like the sticks and beating the shit out of each other, whereas Spike Ball, you're just like, I got a small trampoline here, and a ball, and a board.
But I want to give you the top 5, Scott.
Top 5 of what?
What are the top?
Oh yeah,
5?
what we were talking about. I swear I'm not on edibles.
All right, Scott, your number 5, voted on by Reddit, worst game that you've played thousands of hours is Sims 3 because EA sucks, according to Harry Potter's elbows.
There are so many people that are into The Sims, and good for you. I guess it's just not one of those games that I ever got into. I played it for a couple minutes. I built a house. I drowned some people in the pool, and then I was like, nope, not for me.
Said every serial killer. Your number 4, according to Talbs03, is League of Legends.
Similar. I think I tried it once. There was no pool to drown anybody, so I stopped playing.
I'm just going to skip over that one. Speaking of, your number 3 is chess. God, I hate chess.
What a fun game to pretend you know how to play.
What I would have expected to be in the number 1 spot is a game that I have played thousands of hours in and would not recommend to anybody. It is CSGO.
Yeah, I'm so surprised that game's still around, but people really love it.
It's one of those games where the skill to get started is really low. Anybody can play casually and have a really fun time. But the gap between a B and an S tier player is profound. It is enormous.
I don't know what those mean, but you do.
on a ranking scale, it goes D, C, B, A, and then S tier. That's like the superhero.
Oh, okay. S is better.
And your number 1 pick for worst game you should never play, but probably everybody has played, is Farming Simulator.
But I got to get that new 22 John Deere, man.
Do you think that Farm Simulator is just like that trucker game where you just get behind an 18-wheeler and drive around? Or Flight Simulator? Any of those simulator games. Like, it's just reality, but less fun.
I have a friend who plays this, and the type of enjoyment that they get out of it is, probably calm, serene, zen-like, just making sure everything is in its place, very controlled. Unlike what happened this week in college football. Willy, I know you're a huge college football fan. I know you know every single one of the teams. So what I'm going to have you do is take that piece of paper that you have there, and I'm going to have you draw out a map of the United States and where every single college football team plays. I'm just kidding. That's not what we're going to do here.
Oh, God. I almost started drinking this whole bottle. Gin. This is gin.
But as somebody who doesn't really get into sports that much, I just wanted to bring this up to you because this week in college football, the USC Trojans and UCLA decided to skip town. They're leaving the Pac-12, which was a conference, the Pacific Conference of 12 teams, and decided to join the Big Ten, where the Minnesota Golden Gophers are participants. Now, where is USC and UCLA, Willie?
California.
Right. And where? You got it. You nailed it.
I'm sweating.
And where are the majority of the Big Ten schools?
Midwest.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
am I right? Okay.
Yes. The traditional schools were Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Nebraska's in there.
right?
Yeah. Actually, there's more. There's
Oh,
actually
okay.
12. It makes no sense. So as a filthy casual to the college football scene, can you imagine why these schools would want to leave the prestige of the West Coast and fly halfway across the country to play half of their schedule throughout the year?
One could only assume that it's because, again, I know zero about this story. This is one of those rare moments where, like, I'm not just faking it for the podcast. I really, like, I have no clue why this might happen. I don't
This
fake
makes for
anything.
great
I never
content.
fake it, ladies. So either UCLA and who else?
USC.
Either they want to play people in the Midwest because they think we suck and they just want the advantage, or
Possibly.
they're all from the Midwest and just want to feel a little bit more at home. They're just lonely. They want to see mommy,
Oh, okay.
mommy, daddy.
So they want to play with the daddies of the Midwest is what you're saying.
Who wouldn't?
So that's a good guess, Willie. But the truth is, according to Nate Silver, the Big Ten is trying to get to 270 to win the political election for 2020. What are we in, 2022?
Yep.
And so they can get to, the Big Ten can get to 270 by adding the universities of Arizona, Colorado, Kansas, North Carolina, Oregon, Utah, Virginia, and Washington. So as you can see, that's their strategy. They're trying to take California to get to 270.
Somehow, I feel like this is supposed to be a joke about politics. But for some reason, it's just so real.
If you look at this map, it's very familiar to what we've seen before.
Do you think that this would be an advantage to the Big Ten or a disadvantage if you're watching these teams play?
For the Big Ten, it's going to give them a chance to play more higher caliber schools than they would in their conference. Every single year, they have a set of non-conference games that they play. It's usually 3 or 4. It's against historically lower tier schools to kind of like practice, get the squad ready and cohesive. And usually you go into conference play with a little bit of padding, maybe like 3 extra wins to help you to a better bowl or the college football playoff, which is now a thing. But now, potentially, you're going to have a stronger schedule, which makes it look more attractive to the people that make up the college football playoff. You have any idea what I'm talking about? At the end of the at the end of the year, they do this thing where they have a mini playoff for the best teams in college football. It used to be like
is this a new thing?
a newer thing, yeah, for those who don't pay attention. It used to be like if you were undefeated, you would go to the championship. But suddenly we started getting several schools who were manipulating their schedules so that they would have undefeated seasons. And then they went to a strength of schedule ranking system from all the coaches. And they're like, why don't we just do it so we have all of these teams that are undefeated go into a playoff, and then they fight each other to see who's
Hold on.
What?
They set it up so that they did a strength of schedule ranking system. This is how
Yeah.
you know you've gamed it too hard.
Yeah. It was basically like if you were going to play all these small schools and be undefeated, that's not like beating all of the large schools and being undefeated. So technically, the people that played in stronger conferences would get more votes from the coaches and the Associated Press, and then they would get to go to the bowls.
Why does the Associated Press get so much clout here?
I know, it's strange, but in the end, we know it's all about money.
What you're trying to tell me is that college football, or just college sports in general, is just as complicated and ludicrous as the movie Basketball.
I think we have reached that level of idiocracy, yes.
I have so many emotions up and down.
Well, why don't we take those emotions and roll them into our upvotes and downvotes? My upvote of the week is from Absolute Units. Willie, you grew up in a family that had a cabin up north. Did you ever walk out into the woods and go see the wildlife?
If you were there for last episode, which I think you were, but yeah, we would go hang out with bears and feed them Wonder Bread.
Well, hopefully you never let them get as close as this Absolute Unit did. Turn the
What
sound
the?
on.
What? One, that can't be a real pigeon. That's a real pigeon?
It's not a pigeon. No. It's a different type of bird.
This bird is dry humping this man's back as hard as it can. But I'm sorry. No, this isn't a real animal. This thing is just an animatronic that got away from a Chuck E. Cheese.
That is called a capercaillie. Capercaillie?
Nailed it.
It's very aggressive, very dim. So it just kind of attacks anything. And according to the comments here, Mango Baba 0101 says it's called the cock of the woods.
Have you met your dad? Now, I don't condone putting two animals in a ring to have them fight. I don't think but what if
this can't be good.
you get this bird, Krakatoa, and a honey badger, and you put them in a ring together? One has the gift of flight. The other one gives no fucks.
I think I would vote for that for president.
That fight?
No. Just
It might be
whatever
less chaotic than the presidents we've seen in the past.
that chimera gets my vote.
Scott, my downvote of the week. We have been very positive this episode. And
I'm very surprised.
me too. Part of the reason is that we just needed this. We needed a connection with the two of us, and hopefully we bring some joy to some other people who might not be going through a great time. But this week, there's a post titled, "America, We Need to Talk."
Oh, man.
And it has an NSFW photo. And if you're squeamish, even with these words, I challenge you that this is going to be tough. She writes, "I can't fucking believe I was in the middle of a mass shooting. I felt safe at this parade for 18 years. And today, I got hit with a bullet. And nothing will change in America. This is ridiculous." And the photo shows her exactly what you would imagine one of those like fake gashes on your face would be if you were in a movie and you needed to be a near miss, except this is fucking real. It's just a photo of her with blood down her face from a near fatal gunshot wound.
She's very lucky to be alive from the sound of it. I'm not going to look at this. I don't need to see any sort of gore.
And the sad part, Scott, because she didn't say where this was from, the top comment says, "Was this the Massachusetts, Philadelphia, Virginia, California, Missouri, or one of the 2 Illinois shootings? I'm sure there were more. I just can't keep up."
This is the spot usually where people stop talking and you can just hear the ringing in your ears kind of slowly get louder and louder and louder until we all eventually move on to the next thing. Now, I can't bring up my downvote because it pales in comparison. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch things up, and I'm going to go upvote. I need some positivity to end the show from Tumblr. It's titled Good Take. Somebody writes, "Depression is kicking my ass lately. Not gonna lie. Where's the post about the Klingon therapist? Need to hear that right now." Willy, as you know, big Star Trek fan. I was naturally attracted to this one.
You were
People that
attracted to
don't know.
Klingons? You saw the show, right?
Still am.
Sorry.
Still am.
Sorry. Just go back to the beginning. What I said. I'm not gonna yuck your yum.
Klingon is this warrior race from the show Star Trek, and they're usually very gruff and don't have a lot of emotions except for anger. And this Klingon therapist wrote, "The battle against mental illness cannot be won decisively. It is a long campaign against an enemy who never tires, whose forces swell to twice their size whenever you look away. Battle against a foe of such magnitude who occupies your very mind. Every moment you survive is a triumph against all odds. There is no more honorable combat. Kerpla!"
I can't speak for the rest of you, but hard. Both of them. Both nipples. Hard.
Really, guys, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Find more of us on our socials, and we'll see you next week.